Hi there. How are you doing? Something occurred to me. It comes back to me every now and then that I've had the opportunity to work for some very interesting companies in my life. For a while there, in my past, I was a temporary, so I got to work at and examine and learn from many different kinds of companies. The way they ran the company, the way they treated their workers, the way they treated themselves, the way they put themselves out there in the press or didn't, the way they advertised and didn't. Each company I learned a lot from. Now, interestingly enough, so far I haven't been fired. I was laid off once, but I was not fired ever. And I'm 55 years old. I'm hoping to keep the record intact. But in looking back at the different companies I worked for, as an audiologist, as escrow funds analyst, administrative assistant, IT support, which is what I do now, professional actor. I learned a lot from every company I worked for. And I've gathered all this knowledge together. And let me give you the names of some companies I've worked for. And then when I talk about the different things I learned from them, I'm not going to tell you the companies then. I've worked for Applied Systems, which is where I work now. I've worked for Conseco. And I have worked for Speech and Hearing Clinic Communicology. I worked for John Payne Associates, which was a hearing aid dealer, as an audiologist. And as a temporary, I worked for Conseco. That's how I got my job at Conseco. They kept asking for me back. And one day they finally said, "Don't you want to just come and work here?" To which I said, at that point in my life, which was a very interesting and sad point in my life, I said, yes, I do. Not that the Conseco choice was a sad decision, it was just a sad time in my life. During my temping days, though, I not only worked for Conseco, but I got to work for Eli Lilly about 3 different times. That was, and that's kind of what brought this up. But I also got to work for W.R. Grace. I worked for Dow Chemical. I worked for several smaller companies. I worked for the Wishard Hospital in Indianapolis in their records department. It was fascinating to be a temporary because, and that's kind of how I got into the computer stuff, because I learned I could learn software relatively quickly and function. Whether they had, at that time, you know, it wasn't Microsoft Word is the deal, you know, there was WordStar, for God's sakes. The Paradox database, which I used to work on. I'll never forget that WordStar thing. It was for a smaller company, and it was an indie, and they had WordStar, which means that the keyboard itself has a star button. I'm going, what the hell is this? And so that night, you know, I kind of got through the first day just fine, you know. And that evening, I found a little cheat book on WordStar and read up on it, and I'm going, oh, okay, so we can do this. You hit the star button, you do this, and it does this. And okay, fine, cool, all right. But you see, that's how I learned I could learn software really quickly And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, which is software support. A lot of things led to that, but that's one reason.